You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more.
What up, mi gente? It's your boy Al Mega, and welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. And today, we're talking comics and comedy. We're gonna have a good time today. My man is a digital content creator. He is a comedian. He is a writer, and he got his first project that's coming up on Kickstarter called the Danger Squad. Man, let me introduce this upcoming future legend. This very awesome, funny man. I got to see some of his old school stand-up when he was less facially, inclined, if you will. Let me introduce this man, the myth, the legend, the future star himself, Mr. Eric DaSilva.
What's up? Thanks for having me on, Mel. Appreciate it.
No doubt. Thanks for coming on, bro. Talk about what's popping on. You spoke to my boy a little bit a while back, and Johnny the Machine. Use a lot of Machina, not the merengue group, folks. There's the English Machina. A little bit more calm. He's not Dominican. If he was, that would be wild. Let me tell you, thanks for coming and hanging out. We're gonna have a good time today. For folks that do not know, you're about to learn about this man over here. Ultimate funny man, great writer, got a fire project. I mean, Johnny Hughes told you something, but we're gonna dive even more over here. All right, Johnny, no disrespect, but you know what it is, what we do with Comic Crew. So, Eric, let's get it started, baby. Now,
let's do it.
Where you originally from, and the most important question you will ever be asked in your whole life, Eric. What is the first thing in fandom that you ever fell in love with?
That is pretty specific, and I got all of that for you. All so right. I'm originally a Queens kid, New York, 5 boroughs. That's how I do.
But
growing up in Queens.
Tell me a Yankee fan.
No, I'm a Mets fan. Mets fan, baby. Queens.
Bendito, it's okay.
Listen. I became a Mets fan in '87, the year after the World Series, and they never won it ever since. So it is rough. But I got to
send your hate mail to Eric DaSilva, Met fans. He's the reason they're not winning.
Listen, being a Mets fan is like being an abused housewife. Every end of the season, you're like, never again. Every preseason, I heard they changed. I'm going to give them one more chance. It's
Bendito.
The worst.
Bendito. Yeah, listen, you know what? That is actually the truth. Right now, you sound like my mom's next door neighbor. All right.
It's hard being a Mets fan, man. I love them, but it's hard, which is weird because if you know nerd stuff, Spider-Man, also Queens kid, big, but Spider-Man, not my first issue of the fandom, like real fandom. I watched cartoons, but my first comic book was, I remember it crystal clear. It was Uncanny X-Men 242 in the middle of the Inferno saga. And you open up that book, and the very first page is a close-up shot of Wolverine hardcore making out with Jean Grey. And I was like, whoa. And then you flip the page, and it's this beautiful Mark Silvestri double-page spread of X-Factor and X-Men in Central Park, all heavy metal demon rocked out. I was like, I don't know what any of this is, but I want to know all of it. And that was my first dip into fandom.
Oh, I love it, man. Great run. Like, I got involved in a event when I found X-Men, and the event that I found was Mutant Massacre.
Oh, I had to find out about Mutant Massacre. I had no idea. I had to eventually go backwards. You know what you do? You come in the middle, and then you go backwards, you go forwards. So I found out about Mutant Massacre, and that blew my mind.
Isn't it sick? That was when I said, oh my God, they're killing all these mutants. What the hell is going on here? I never seen heroes die before. Again, like you, cartoon generation, like Cobra, like Starship, like Stormtrooper is the worst aim ever. No one gets hit. They don't deserve those checks. How dare they?
I mean, honestly, I think every soldier in Cobra was legally blind, which is why they probably got hired. Some sort of
I think that kid that tried to assassinate Trump, he was probably a member of Cobra.
Oh, easy. He would have been a Cobra general. It'd been the worst.
I'm just saying, like, his aim was off. That shit was crazy. Not that I want to see death. I'm not.
Right. We're not advocating violence at all.
That shit.
We're talking about efficiency as a general statement.
Yeah, efficiency. Yeah, exactly. I mean, things that happen, that's all it is. I don't wish that about nobody. To be honest, you want to get politics, none of these people should be running for office, but that's just my opinion.
Speak. I hear you. Yeah. Every political season, it's a choice between getting kicked in the nuts or punched in the stomach. You're going to get hit. You just got to minimize the damage.
You know what? I think that we need to have Eric DaSilva run and bring the Danger Squad to life. That's what America needs.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start reeling it back. All right. So you're unfortunately a Mets fan. I mean, you're a Mets fan. Yeah. You're X-Men fan, Spidey. You're growing up in Queens. Like, when did you start getting the bug to get creative? When the hell did that all happen?
I mean, if you want to talk about creative, you're a kid and you're just playing with your action figures, playing with your friends. You're making up adventures in stores, doing that kind of stuff. I just loved, going to comic book stores and having those talks. Who would win in a fight, and all that kind of stuff. And everyone's kind of, all that was like, and then we'll come back going, oh man, this guy told me this great version of how he would do it. And me and my friends would talk about it. And that was kind of the bug. And being funny, you have to learn how to create a situation that you can make strangers laugh all the time. So it's storytelling. You're like, okay, well, let me tell this situation in the least amount of words to make it as impactful as possible. And it doesn't matter who you are, you're going to get with it. So I learned how to be funny partially because my parents are Brazilian. So I feel like if you're South American, you already got like 3 years of stand-up comedy under the belt because it is hard growing up Hispanic, and you got to learn how to laugh at it or you're going to cry at it. And we choose to laugh. So it was just making fun of everything and nothing was out of bounds. And that eventually, when I grew up as a fat kid, which means people wanted to bully me all the time. So my stand-up comedy, my comedy was a defense mechanism. I would make the bullies laugh so hard they would forget to hit me. I would make people laugh so much they're like, oh, this guy's cool, he's awesome, and then don't worry about it. So it was literally that kind of experience. And so I've been creating one way or the other, since I was a kid. But eventually, me and my friends, we started a comic book company in our early 20s called Outcross Magazine. It was a little.
What? You started a company? Wait. We had a little comic book company. What era are we talking about? What era is this? Like what year?
We're talking like 2003. Like 2003 to 2000.
Before everything starts popping on the really hardcore and shit.
Yeah. One of our biggest accomplishments on our second issue, we got an interview with Brian Michael Bendis when he just started doing Ultimate Spider-Man. Like that's how way back we
nice.
Jim Mahfood, and we were on set to interview Mark Millar. Like in that time, those guys are all huge gets. So we were like just plowing through, but things didn't work out. And so I've had a little bit of experience doing comics here and there, but after that, I just pivoted full-time into stand-up. Now, fast forward to...
Wait. I don't want you to skip the stand-up because I'm a stand-up fan.
All right.
Like, how'd you build the courage, bro, to write material, first of all, and then be able to perform in front of... I love comedy. I respect the shit out of comedians. I'm a big comedy fan. Thanks for people like you, that are bold enough to, share takes in life that are real, but in such a funny way. I was watching some of your stuff, y'all talking about kids, for example, and I found out of that commentary being a parent, absolutely hysterical, don't give 100, give 75%. That way, I was like, that was funny. True though. As a Latino, I understand, So talk about all that writing, being in tune and then putting this stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So I was in high school. And this is what happened. I was in my junior year of high school, and so this is gonna go way back. Do you remember the movie Batman Forever when they first did Robin, which was what's his name, right?
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers, before they settled on the big dude, I forgot his name, Chris something at this point. They thought, let's get it unknown. So there was a national talent search for a Robin, which means there were reps from Warner Brothers going to high schools across America, generally like the biggest cities like Los Angeles, Seattle, Miami, where I was at the time for high school, and they were looking for a Robin. And they picked this one guy in my class. His name is Chris, and Chris was undoubtedly a handsome dude. He was like 6'2", skinny. He had like a surfer haircut, like the dude was a looker. No takeaway about it. And then he comes in and we're like, dude, what happened? He's like, bro, they want me to be Robin. And I was like, no, you don't get to be Robin. You don't get to be Robin. Because Robin, I know Robin, and I don't get to be Robin. There's no way in hell. And I went off on this kid.
Yeah, Eric formed a clan that day, and this poor kid got jumped and beat up so bad he couldn't be Robin.
No, he didn't get jumped because life had given him the golden ticket, so he didn't get jumped. But for one shiny second, I went on such a nerd tangent in class that everybody was laughing on him. And I was like, Robin, listen, you're from Cuba, dude, and I'm sorry it's not going to work out. That's not what the Bat Cave is. You're not going to come here climb on a bat boat with a giant R and a gold chain. It's not happening. I went off and...
No, bro. I'm seeing, what if Razor Ramon was Robin?
Oh, my God. Oh, no. I would fight him. I would lose, but I would fight him because no. And... it got so bad that the teacher kicked me out of class, and which totally deserved. I went off, and as I was walking around, I bumped into my girlfriend at the time. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I got kicked out of class." And she's like, "Again?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "How many times is it this month?" I go, "It's probably like 5."
Oh, damn,
and she's like, "Listen, if you're gonna be an a-hole, you should figure out a way to make money out of it because I don't see this going any other way." And I was like, well, I just made everyone in class laugh. That's why I got kicked out. So maybe I'll do this comedy thing. So I found an open mic. I went there. I had to bring 5 people. So I had my parents and 3 of my friends come as my 5 bringer and did the show. And the first set went great. It went so good that when I was coming off stage, this random old dude who now being 46 probably wasn't that old, but to me, massively old. He grabs me by the shirt and he pins me against the wall. And he's like, "You're a liar." I'm like, well, "What did I lie about?" He's like, "There's no way this was your first time." I was like, "Dude, I swear to God, it was my first time." He's like, "Stick with it, kid. You got something." Turns out, that dude was the headliner. And he went up and he killed for an hour. And I was like, that guy got that mad at me because he thought I wasn't being honest.
That happened
funny enough.
Yeah, Eric, that happened to me playing paintball.
No way.
A bunch of Puerto Ricans from Brooklyn go to Long Island to play ball. We had dope guns. We looked good. We bought uniforms. Because again, you know us, yo, if we're going to do things, we go all out.
I got it.
That's what we do. So we went all out. You know, we look good. But this is probably our second time ever playing. You know, we're trying to build a team and learn, right?
Sure.
So this squad looks at us. Oh, look at you guys. Let us teach you a few things, they say. Bro, we wiped them out in less than 3 minutes, you know, Brooklyn style.
Yeah.
And these guys were like, "You MFers, you've been playing this, that." So afterwards, all we did was call them Team. That was their name, Team. Because, bro, I mean, y'all gassy. Get out of here. This is our first time. If we beat you, you know what I mean?
That means you have anything to start with anyway. So yeah, what do you want?
Brooknam in the building, baby.
It's because you're a city kid. You survived. That's how you got to be that good. Sometimes things get a little heated. You got to learn how to peek around a corner. I get it.
It was so funny, Eric. Yeah, people don't like it when you do good your first time.
Yeah. But that was the beginning, and then started doing regular stand up, and it was getting. I don't want to brag, but I was doing really well. Let's just say I was doing really well, getting a lot of shows.
What clubs you did in New York? I mean, is this in Miami or New York?
In Miami. I'm in Miami. At this point, I'm in Miami. And eventually it got to the point where I was like, I'm sort of bored just making people laugh at like normal things. So I was like, let me start tackling harder subjects, weirder subjects. Let me see like where the funny is. And I realized it was a much harder challenge. But when I was making those jokes hit, I was like, this is what I really like, is making people laugh at things they're not supposed to laugh at, sort of dancing between the raindrops and getting them to that point. Doesn't matter where you are, what your perspective is. I got you on board. Yeah. And I got to do a show with a comic that was touring, and he's like, "You should go to New York." And I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, I was thinking about maybe moving to Boston for like a couple of years, and he's like, "No, go to New York." So I went to New York, started grinding out there. Next thing you know, I do I record an album that starts doing well. I moved back to Miami. I recorded an album called "Adorably Offensive" because that was
wait. So Eric, I mean, comedy albums are still a thing?
Well, this is circa 2012.
Okay. Oh wow, you're ancient, man. So long ago.
I know. So many moons ago. So right. So when that album comes out, I'm starting to get like a little bit of like some managers are starting to look at me. We moved back to Miami because I just had my second kid and I was going on the road so much that my now ex-wife was like, I can't take care of both these kids at the same time. And both their parents lived in Miami. Like, come over here. We want to see your grandkids. So we moved there. It allowed me to go on the road. I started doing a bunch of festivals. One thing started leading to another. And everything was going swimmingly. And I remember specifically January of 2020, I just finished booking out the first quarter of 2020. So I booked out until like late April, early May. Oof. And I'm whenever I was on the road, I was like a stay-at-home dad. So I'm making food for the kids for dinner, and I'm watching the news, and Trump's there, and they're like, Mr. President, what do you think about the strange virus coming out of China? And he's like, we're perfectly fine, nothing to worry about. We've got it covered. I was like, oh, dude, we are so screwed. This is gonna be a problem. So I called my manager. I was like, hey, I just heard this thing on the news and I'm a little nervous. Can we cancel like January? He's like, but we just got you. I was like, I know. Can we just, and they're like, listen, it's going to look bad. I was like, I understand. And I'm taking the responsibility just until January. If everything's okay, February, I'm back on, no problem. By the first week of February, they're calling me, go, we're canceling for the next 6 months. Damn. 2 weeks out of that, they were canceling for the year. And so there I was. And I if you knew any comedians back then, everybody was in a panic because like they're not able to earn any money.
Comedians, you work in clubs, man.
We had to be out.
This shit is nice on the internet, but it's not the same.
No, it's something about being at a comedy club where you feel that energy. Yes. It's night and day.
I've seen some of the greats, my brother. So let me tell you, nothing. I've seen them on TV, of course, but I've seen them live.
Yeah,
nothing. I mean, I've been insulted by some of the greats. You know, hey, why not? Hey, except Tracy Morgan. He's the coolest one. He's the only one that did not diss me. He dissed everybody around me because every other comedian, Eric, was dissing the shit out of us that night. So we were the only Latinos in the spot on 21st Street in Manhattan.
Oh, wow.
We were the only Latinos all night. So every comedian came up and, he's hitting us. Tracy Morgan was a surprise. He came on last. He dissed everybody but us. And I even looked at my ex-wife at the time, like you, brother. Yes, exes. Latinos in business is what happens in show business. Anyway, I was like, yo, we didn't get attacked. We go outside. We're talking shit about the show, and having a cigarette at the time because I smoked cigarettes then. Yo, this black chick pulls up. Window goes down. It's Tracy Morgan. He pops out. He goes, yo, how you guys enjoy the show? I said, oh, shit, Tracy. Yo, thank you so much for not this. He goes, nah, man, I got my people that were messing with y'all all night. I got you. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. And he just left. Like, wow. Humble, fun, and protected his people.
That's awesome. That's dope. That's great to hear. I love hearing stuff like that. That's so good. But then you panic. And luckily, because of the pandemic, I got to spend more time with my kids, and so I got to be involved. So they introduced me to this show that they were watching called Gravity Falls. I was like, man, this is awesome. I'm really digging the show, and because of that,
how do you feel as an adult man? They start showing you some cartoons, and you're like, shit, this is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, and at first, literally, I feel like as an adult, the roles were reversed because I sat down on the couch with my arms crossed, like, oh yeah, this is gonna be really good. And by the end of the first, I'm like, oh, what happens next? I want to see this really good. So
next episode.
Yeah, but then I got to give and take. Like we would watch an episode of Gravity Falls, and then I would show them the Goonies, and then we watch another episode of Gravity Falls, and I showed them season 1 of Stranger Things. So there was a lot of give and take, and I showed them the Gremlins. We got into all these sort of
nice.
Like this and like that. How about it? And it was really cool. And then at nighttime, I'd go to read them stories. But after 6 weeks, we'd gone through all the stories. And I was like, what do you guys want to read now? And we're bored of these stories. We want something else. I was like, what do you want me to order something from Amazon? Like, what do you want? And well, no, that you're a comedian. You make up jokes, make up a story.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, all right. Cool. So I thought, okay, well, Gravity Falls was only 2 seasons. There's nothing else. All these other movies don't have sequels really that I can show them or anything. I was like, what am I going to do? So I took all the elements that I knew they liked from what we've been sharing with each other, and I made up a thing. And they're like, oh, that's really cool. And then the next night I was like, so what do you guys want to hear today? And they're like, that story, tell that story again. So I told the same story again. And it went like that for like 6 nights in a row. And on the 7th night as a comedian, I'm like, oh, I got the rhythm down. I know where the punches are. I'm going to sell it. I'm excited. And my kid's like, no, we want a new story. I was like, son of a gun, I can't. This is nuts. And I have to think of a whole other IP. It's like, no. We don't want a whole other story. We want a new story with the same characters. I was like, bet I can do that. So I started thinking of new stories. Next thing you know, I'm making up a story. My kid's like, no, Dad, you can't tell that. I was like, what happened? Did I curse? What happened? Like, no, because that happened like 2 stories ago when they did this. I was like, oh no. So
you got the greatest editors on the planet, apparently.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, there's continuity now? I got to remember the plot twist? Oh, and I'm writing all this down. Next thing you know, when the social distancing starts lessening up and they're starting to get like sleepovers again, their friends are coming over and their friends are like, can you tell us the story that you told your kids? Because they've been telling us how great the story is. So I'm getting requests. So I'm telling stories. I'm telling them the stories, right? Fast forward, I meet a friend of mine who's a stand-up comic, introduces me to this lovely lady who is an Emmy award-winning producer for children's animation.
Ooh.
And she's like, I heard you have an idea for a kids cartoon. And I was like, yeah, kind of. So I tell her my pitch for what is eventually become Danger Squad. And she's like, I got good news and I got bad news. I was like, you know what? Give me the bad news first. I'm a bad news first kind of guy. Here we go. And she goes, bad news is everybody has a version of this story. I got a version of this story. I was like, all right, cool. Well, that's a little wound to the ego. She's like, do you want to hear the good news? And I'm like, yeah, what's the good news? She's like, this is the best version of that story.
Hey!
I was like, boom. So we ended up putting a whole project together. I got a bunch of my comedy friends into it. And as a matter of fact, shout out to Cristela Alonso. She was one of the original OG voices. If you don't know who Cristela Alonso is, she was a yellow car from Cars 3. She had her TV show Cristela on ABC. Like, Cristela is just the greatest.
Wait a minute. How you meet all these people
through stand-up? Through stand-up.
I can't imagine. You probably ran into some legends, huh?
Oh, I listen. I got a Patrice O'Neal story that I'll tell you off screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I've been very lucky. What did I say? I've been very lucky. So
on the air, it'll be too much trouble.
So when we got the show with a streamer, they were very excited. Got to like the VP of the original content, and they're like, so listen, we're going through all the submission, and we don't see what book this is based off. We're like, oh no, it's not a book, it's an original IP. They're like, oh no, we're just looking for pre-existing media pitches.
That's so stupid. Then you have the from there, then you create the fucking book.
That's what
idiots.
We thought. No, they're like,
idiots.
We want pre-existing media. And I was like, oh, so feeling defeated, humbled. Me and the executive producer were talking about what we could do with this. And she was like, well, you know comic books, right? I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, let's make it into a book. Let's put a book and get it out and maybe start this process again, or maybe it just takes off a book naturally, whatever it is, but let's do that. So we got together, and part of the pitch that we had is I had outlined the first 2 seasons. Okay. So I took 3 episodes from season 1, kind of move some things around, smushed it together, and made it this 3-part adventure that can be sold as single issues or an original graphic novel. Ooh. And I ended up linking up with a independent comic book company out of Kentucky called Kinetic Comics. And now we're getting this pitch together for a Kickstarter called Danger Squad.
All right, folks, I'm going to stop you there, folks. I have a tease for you here. I actually have the Danger Squad promo video, baby. We're going to dig into this and then keep on learning about why he's doing this on Kickstarter. You know what I mean? Hooking up with this company and more of the future plans for what is Danger Squad. coming live this month, August, baby, going live real soon. The link is below for you to sign up right now, baby. Right there, you see it right there, and it's also in the show notes. So make sure you click away, sign up, and get notified when this baby goes live, and you make it rain like Eric is dancing on the pole. You know what I mean? Wepa! Now, Eric, before you start dancing on the pole and making that money, talk about the promances here. How you got this book together? Because again, it came from a story you were telling your kids. You had a pitch idea. Someone said, make it a comic. Now, you were a comic fan. How the hell did you figure out how the hell to make a comic?
Trial and error. Luckily, from the comic book company, me and my friends tried to start in our 20s. I kind of had a little bit of experience. Also, from doing stand-up, I've done a lot of script treatments. I've worked with some production companies for doing scripts for reality TVs. By the way, reality TV is not real. So just let you know right there. So I had to kind of put it all together. Like I said, I learned how to write scripts together, punch things up. And so I literally brought my 30, 40 years of nerd knowledge into the game. And I was like, what is it to make this work, to make it play for a comic book? And the whole way the characters look is because if all the shows I talked about, whether it's Stranger Things, Gravity Falls, Goonies, listen, 80s, 90s, whatever, a bunch of white kids. There's no real color or community or culture in
you know why? Because we're not that crazy.
That is not true. If you growing up in the city, it was just a different kind of danger. But
oh, I'll give you that, because I remember visiting the BQE back in the day. There was a tunnel under the bridge in the back where the homeless people lived. And one day we went on with fireworks and just started throwing fireworks in there. What's going on here? Because we actually found a satanic table. So we went in there with the mission to destroy it that day. So we went on with M80s, blockbusters, pineapples, throwing them in there. All you heard was explosions under a bridge. We didn't know how dangerous the things we would do.
Now, imagine if you're doing that and one of those homeless people turned out to be a werewolf and chased you. That is the feel of what Danger Squad is. If
Eric,
you don't know.
Yeah, one of the guys came up, we didn't do nothing. And one of my boys was like, real Puerto Rican, Cloud, my man, we come in peace. Yeah, we come in peace. We're blowing shit up. What's wrong with you?
But so, yeah, I was like, my number one thing is I wanted to show a group of kids that is from all the cultures. So I wanted to, like, I grew up in New York. I had friends who were black. I had friends who were South Korean. I had friends who were, I'm Brazilian. I had Puerto Rican friends. I had Jewish friends. I was like, I want to do the whole gambit. So first thing I thought of, like, the first character says I'm Brazilian. I'm gonna make him Hispanic Brazilian too. And I grew up as a chubby kid, so he's a chubby kid too. He's by proxy, my little additive to the mythos.
So that's Lil Eric is in books.
Yeah, I gotta, you gotta write what you know, and I know how it feels like to be an erotic chubby kid who's really into everything. So like,
I was fat. I was a fat kid until I was about 12 years old, and then that year I started riding bicycle with my boys all over Queens. From Brooklyn to Queens, just riding, and I lost everything.
Well, you're better than me, and I hate you. So, but from there, I was like, first I want to get a good multicultural group of kids so I can talk, because listen, if it's one thing you know about Latinos, we have some legit, real, spooky stuff in our, like, Santeria and La Llorona, and there's so many different.
Right? No matter where we're from, whether it's Central America, El Caribe, South America, we're connected by that spooky shit on some level.
And we don't talk about it, but we all know it, and we know to bounce if we see it.
We know not to talk about it. Shh.
That's what I'm saying.
You're gonna bring it. Shut up.
And so I was like, wouldn't it be cool if all these kids are coming from different cultures, so they can bring whatever their cultural spooky is to the situation? So you start off. So I figure I start off with, like, we'll do the Americans, because in America it's happening. We all know this, and then as we go along, we can get into the weird and the nitty gritties of each culture spooky, and we have a whole other thing about it. Like, this
I love this idea.
Made sense to me, and I wanted to do so much with it. So I started building from there, and then what I learned from comic books, especially X-Men, Chris Claremont. That dude. Also, if you're an X-Men fan, Jonathan Hickman. Both those dudes knew how to tell you one little thing, boop, and wait like 6 months to a year, and I come back and go, hey, you know that one little scene that we completely have been avoiding for like 24 issues? That was the most important scene in this whole story. And you bring it back, and it changes the context, everything. I was like, that's so. As I'm writing this story, I'm specifically choosing certain scenes that may seem not that important up front, but I guarantee you, none of this is slapdash. Pay attention to the backgrounds. There are little things there that's all going to matter later on as we go on with the story, because I'm bringing my nerddom hard to the forefront of this, because I want everyone to be like, oh man, wait until you get to issue blah blah, because that's going to be and I love that experience, and I want to bring that experience out.
I'm digging it. And as a New Yorker, I understand you 100% when it comes to that melting pot group of friends. Because listen, you see me, but I grew up with Polish guys, Dominican guys, Puerto Ricans, American, African American, Asian. Like, if you see our squad, you're like, how the hell are these guys know? Well, that's New York, baby. This and this is normal to us. This is why when people talk about the diversity thing, like for me, it's normal, but I understand what they talk about, because Middle America is not like that.
No.
And I get it. But hopefully we could overcome those differences. Understand we're just all human beings, man.
Absolutely.
Doing some fire stuff.
I've been to a situation where I've learned things from people from different cultures. They've learned from me. And that's all it is. So I'm like,
you blew my mind already.
And if you know anything about,
I'm thinking what you were saying though about the different creepiness within culture. You say Jewish, so we could bring in golems. You talk about Puerto Ricans, we could bring in chupacabra. You Mexican, we're bringing La Llorona. So many different things from.
All right, so Al, this is a big spoiler, but because you brought up chupacabra, I'll let you know one of the planned episodes. Hopefully, one of the stories we get to do is there was going to be a mystical spring break that breaks out during this town for one of the stories, and the town gets infested with chupacabras.
I love this. When that legend came out, I started dying. Whatever. But folks, let's talk about this, Eric. Let's talk about this. So
sure.
This beautiful effing cover, baby, and this team that you put together. Because let me tell you, the colors pop. I'm a big color fan, because again, it's comic book, so you got to bring me in, and it's not just beautiful art, but again, the colors got to pop. You know what I mean? The lettering. What is the acronym for Danger Squad? Talk to me, baby. Give us the bochinche, bro.
I'm gonna spill the tea that'll chismoso action right now. Not even a problem. So on the website, dangersquad.com, if you look at the danger updates section, where I kind of give people a little bit of updates about the process of where it's coming from, I do reveal the acronym, what danger stands for.
Okay.
And it came from the fact that when I was trying to think of a name for the team, when I finally got to the word danger, I was told, that sounds cool, but do you really want to put kids in danger? Because we don't want parents to accuse us that we're like encouraging kids to do dangerous things. And I was like, what if danger was an acronym? So each letter stood for something. So we're not telling them they're getting into danger. We're sort of giving the mission statement of the squad. And she's like, that sounds dope. So I thought about it for a while, and then I figured out danger stands for dark anomalies, nightmarish ghouls, exciting rescues.
Oh, epa. There we go. I dig it.
So I figured so there's a lore to the team. Like in the first issue, we address why these kids are called Danger Squad. We address it and we build for that, because if you know anything about kids, when you tell them they can't, they're like, cool. You said I can't like this, but if I do it like that, it's something different, and I guess that it's allowed. And that's what these kids are going. They figure out just a little way to go around certain things and start their squad.
So talk about building your squad. That creative team. Talk about those promances right there.
Absolutely. Well, first we got Leon, and Leon would be me without the need to want to be funny. He's funny as a defense mechanism, but he's way more inquisitive. He loves to learn. He loves to figure out puzzles. He'll break things apart and go, oh, that's how it works. And he puts it back together. That's Leon. So he's my inquisitive side and my funny side and my neurotic side. I'll put it into there.
I love how you said, though, a defensive mechanism of humor. I know folks like that, which are like dry mother effers. But if you get at them, like they know how to get back at you and come up with the illest joke. You're like, oh, Why would you do this normally, bro?
Yeah, well, because the thing is, I always say, like they say, you got to be careful with the quiet ones. That's it. Because quiet ones, they're paying attention. You think they're not paying attention, but they look at every little detail. So the minute it gets heated, they pop, and that's it. So got to be careful with the quiet ones. Now, Kevin is actually a tribute to a friend of mine that I grew up with. That he passed away, and he was Chinese, and it was my buddy Mike, and Mike loved movies and video games. He was studying how to go into movie production. Like, this dude was in it to win it, and so Kevin's sort of like my ode to him. And the way I describe Kevin is like, Kevin would be described as the next Quentin Tarantino, even though he's not old enough to watch Quentin Tarantino movies. That's how I would describe Kevin. He's about
Quentin.
Yeah, so he's about the purity, he's about the directors and the auteur and what this scene means, and he's like a pop culture super machine. So anything pop culture, anything about cinematography, story structure, where something a lore comes from, Kevin's the dude. Then we got Macy, and Macy was I experienced this, a couple of experiences. If you're like in high school and you end up going, you realize one day, wow, that girl is way too small to be in high school. Like, what's going on? You're like, oh, that she's actually just 11. And you're like, but you're 16. Goes, oh yeah, she's super smart. They put her into high school because she's that smart. I experienced that, so this is my sort of experience with that. Where even though Kevin and Leon are in middle school and they're 12 years old, Macy's not. And Macy is the kind of girl she's book smart, and so because of that, she feels like everyone is useless, and she's like, I don't want to be bothered by anybody. But at the same time, she can see what's going on with Kevin and Leon. She's like, if I don't watch over these guys, they're gonna end up killing themselves. So she's sort of she's the adult in the room as a 9-year-old, because she's very well, she's smarter than she looks, and she looks pretty smart to begin with.
I'm sorry you dealt with that, because I've dealt with kids like that,
Yeah.
In my crew, the young one that wants to come in and like, get out of here, shorty, I'm gonna kick you in your chest. How you doing?
And that kid ends up being the one who's like, yo, I saw the way out. Like, oh, that's sorry, go. You gotta give credit.
No. But that's what winds up happening. You want to kick him in the chest, but then you find out, oh shit, these guys have some value in it, and they actually do care. So yeah,
very much so.
There's I'm loving this New York vibe, brother, because hearing you speak is like hearing stories about my people. Same thing.
Yeah, man.
Creative, awesome. People that are just doing awesome things, people that I've lost that were amazing. Yeah, man. It's the life growing up in the city, right? But you exactly definitely stay in control, because look at you, Danger Squad, baby, comedy, all this and again. And what I love about this story the most, I've never had a career that basically, as I've really said, that all of this created mostly because of their kids' encouragement.
Yeah.
So, a big kudos to the DaSilva clan out there, to the little ones, yo. Thank you for pushing your daddy on this way, because this is awesome.
Oh no, listen, I give 100% credit to my kids. I list my kids as my consultants, because every time I think of like a story, I'm like,
do they get what are they getting? 10, 15%?
They get 12. They get 12%. 12% is a good number. They get 12%. And I listen, and whenever I think of like, oh, what about this monster? They're like, yeah or no. And I go, even when I write the jokes in the book, let me tell you something. Kids will let you know if something pops or not. So if the joke ain't it, they're like, nah, that's I don't like that. And when it hits, they're like, yo, put that down. I'm like, that's going in the book. So
my daughter didn't like none of my jokes. My daughter's also 22, and you gotta, again, I'm an 80s, 90s guy. So my jokes are not gonna hit with those people in this generation. So she always looks at me like she wants to laugh, but she refuses to laugh for the principle.
Oh, and that's when you gotta double down. You gotta make it even like, oh, you don't go. That's it. That's it.
Listen, I'm a New York asshole, so I'm absolutely gonna keep pushing it. All right, I'm gonna make you laugh now. I know I got you. Hold on.
But yeah, and then you have Layla, Afro Puff Girl, because I love the fact that she's actually based off this girl I met, who she was the sweetest, nicest, the most soft-spoken girl you ever met, until she got mad. Woo! That's where you're like, back away, because it is like we're releasing a demon. And so Layla is that girl where she's like, I love my life. I love my friends, but if you cross the line, you risk us, then it's Wolverine time. So that's exactly how
I think
she is.
his nickname should be Bomba because he's the bomb. You gotta blow up. Oh my God, you better be careful.
I remember one time having she was super mad, and there was a cop walking down the street, and he's like, everything is okay. I was like, yeah. Also, you shouldn't get involved because it's gonna be bad for you. So you should probably just keep on going because when this is happening, this is not good for anybody. So Layla's sort of my tribute about like every team needs a scrapper, and Layla is the best scrapper because she loves her friends so much that as soon as things get dangerous, she's the first one to step up. And so that's Layla right there.
Let's go. Love it. Love it. Man, look at this tribe and all that you've created here, this book. So what's the plan for the series? So we got this Kickstarter dropping.
Right.
Do you have a definite date on the drop of this Kickstarter with the link below me?
So I'm gonna be honest. We were supposed to do August 26th, but we might be pushing it back a little bit. So you have time to pre-subscribe to it, and I'll tell you why. And this is sort of like a big surprise. One of the stretch goals we just got locked in is a buddy of mine who works for Pixar. He worked on Luca. He worked on Inside Out 2. He was one of the main guys in that series that's coming out called Win or Lose. He's doing an exclusive cover for us.
What?
And we're doing that. So we're doing that as. Oh, by the way, he also worked on the Avengers. His team did the space aliens. So I mean the space whales. Space whales. Yeah.
I was living in New York at the time. I worked in the East Side at the time, right on 40th. I would get off on the East Side train, and one day I get off for work, bro, and I'm working to work, and I just look to the left, and I see a spaceship that supposedly crashed near an office building. I'm like, what the? I didn't know what was going on yet, and then, I didn't have my phone. I didn't bother to taking pictures. I'm like, what the F is this? Then I go, and then I find out, the Avengers. Damn, and I couldn't get near again.
So he was on the team that designed so every time you see Leviathan, that's his work there as well.
Nice.
So
how you get him, bro?
Yeah. So I was telling him I'm doing this book and we're getting close, and he's like, yo, do you want if I can help out? I was like, you want to do a cover? He's like, done. Let's do this cover. Whoa. So we're gonna push back a little bit, and so he can have some time to develop it. But once you pre-subscribe, as soon as we get everything set, we'll be letting you know, and that'll be one of the. I think it'll be the first or the second stretch goal when we set up is the cover from my boy Omar San Cristobal doing a stretch goal variant cover for Danger Squad.
I am loving this, brother. I am loving it. So what's the goal here with Danger Squad? I mean, how many stories do we have set in your brain? If this Kickstarter is successful, what is the future plan?
Homie, listen. When we did the pitch for the cartoon series, I had 2 seasons broken down.
Done.
I had season 3 as a general statement and 4 and 5 as outlines. I planned a 5-season series.
Damn.
And it gets crazier and more. And every season is a tribute to one of the styles of movies that I grew up. So whether you like supernatural, you like the multiverse, you like science fiction, you like aliens, every season is a tribute to one of those genres, and we go all in all the types, and we put fun spins on things that you think but you never experienced before. And I'll give an example. Once again, kind of spill the tea, but I'm having such fun. I'll let you know. One of our hot takes, the way we deconstruct it is like, we all know werewolves, right? We know werewolves.
Of course.
So in my world, werewolves have their own secret society, and the reason why they're called werewolves is because they're wolves that when they put on human clothing, they turn human. So they're werewolves.
Gotcha.
Now
you worry me though. You worry me here, Eric.
Why?
Because if they're werewolves, now, depending on what they wear, would that affect their personality?
You have to find out.
Oh my God! Listen, but I'm already thinking so many comedic things.
I trust me, and I have to think of something funny. I go, now what would a 12-year-old think is funny, and what can I get away with? Start to bring it down. But every joke that I put in there, I also think, but here's a little hint in case you're older. In case you're older.
Bro. All cartoons are written like that. Cause if you really watch SpongeBob now, I swear to God that this cartoon was not meant for kids, bro.
Ren and Stimpy was not meant for kids.
Oh, that was 100. Dude, I recently got everything. And so I've started watching the first season, and it has the commentary at the end with the writers. Yo, these writers were on some
Yeah.
But I love it though. That's creative freedom. That's you getting out there, freedom of speech, and doing all that and getting them stories out there. Now, I heard how you said you want to keep it kid friendly. So purposely, Danger Squad will forever be a YA, if you will, kid friendly type of universe.
As we get older, we can do more. So the first 3 seasons are meant for sort of like that YA. Then maybe season 4 we get more to like a PG-16.
Okay.
And then
want the show to grow with the age.
Absolutely.
Of the people.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
So this way, as we, especially nerds our age, we got kids now, and some of those kids eventually will be having their kids. What better experiences when they get to a certain age? You can start showing them the series, and as they get older, like, I don't want to watch that. That's a kid show. Like, oh, wait until you get to season 3, and the show ages with you. And so you get to have that experience. And so something you can always kind of pass on to the older generation, sharing with the younger generation, which is what the story is really about, is about lore and generation, and how you can pass things on and how pick up for one another.
I love this. Folks, look how easy. I don't want to keep my man too long, but listen, the Kickstarter's coming up, right? I need you to sign up today. I need you to visit the website, dangersquad.com.
And Al, I gotta tell your fans right now, there's one last thing real fast. To make things more fun, because if you're gonna do a book about magic and monsters and mysteries, you should probably have a mystery that everyone can get in on.
Ooh.
So what we've been doing is we're running a shadow campaign. There's a character called Dr. Mystery who has his own conspiracy podcast called the Perplexing Proof Podcast. And he's been releasing episodes that seem unconnected. But recently, he released an episode where he found the town that the book takes place in. And he's also hacked the website and left little clues on how to find his secret website through the Danger Squad website. So if you follow us on social media and you start looking for the clues in a website, you can find his secret page. And if you follow us on social media, you can see his hidden YouTube videos of the podcast he's releasing. And as we get along, we'll be releasing more episodes, letting you into the mystery of what the town and what he's discovering that'll connect to the book as you go on.
Yo, I love that effing idea right there. Definitely so immersive, getting people so involved into the DaSilva verse, baby. I am digging it. This is fire. And mi gente, also, you want to stay tuned. You also got to follow him on social. All right, the IG, X, TikTok at Danger Squad Up, baby. All right, please show the support for independent and amazing creators like this. Now, Eric, 2 more questions before we go. First up, you're getting into the comics. I know this is your first project. Do you have plans to maybe attend conventions, either as tabling or just walk around and saying hello?
I just had a meeting about this yesterday. You can be expecting us hopefully by in 2025. We are currently looking into going to MegaCon in Orlando, Super Florida Con in Miami, Dragon Con in Atlanta.
I heard that's great.
MomoCon as well as in Atlanta, and there might be some conventions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Kentucky we're going to be hitting as well. Also, I heard that there is the Latino Comic Con in Texas. So we're going to try to hit that too. So we were just had a meeting about this. So we are looking into it. And if we do, we will be posting on the website as well. And please come visit us when we do, because we'd love to.
Let me know if you need help with the Latino Comic Con in Texas. I do know the showrunners for that, because again, as a Latino, like definitely, as a Latino creator, I would definitely love to help.
Homie, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. If you need any footing, please. We're at your service. Comic Crusaders here at the service of all comic book creators, mi gente. So, please don't be shy. My resources are your resources. We're Crusaders for a reason. We're here to help.
Thank you, dude. Thank you.
People like yourselves. As a kid, I know I've mentioned this before, but comic books were a big part of my life. growing up Latino, there's always tension in Latino families. You know what I mean? It gets tough. So comics is always a night escape where, okay, you know what? They're on their bullshit again. Let me grab a stack of books, go to the fire escape, and let me just delve into other worlds. And, it was thanks to the imagination of folks like yourself that,
I'll tell you a fun story because I know how hard it is sometimes growing up with Latinos. Especially my parents were like first generation from Brazil, coming to America, starting like straight from there. So I got a really fun story. So when me and my friends started the comic book company, we went to MegaCon to promote it for the first year. And we didn't know when we were closing up for the first day, one of the women who worked at the convention walked around. She's like, "Are you guys Outcross Magazine?" And we're like, "Yeah, did we do something wrong?" Because when you're Latino, you're used to people accuse you do something wrong. Like,
yeah, what did I do?
Yeah, we're just trying to sell comics. What did we do wrong? I swear to God, I did nothing wrong. And she's like, "Oh no, because you're a comic book company. Every company at the convention is invited to tonight's party." I was like, "What's tonight's party?" They're like, "Oh, you didn't hear? It's Stan Lee's 75th birthday party." So we lost our minds. This is our first year developing a comic book company.
Eric was holding his butt cheeks like, "Oh my God, I mean I shit myself right now."
Oh no, I wasn't holding it, but my nipples were punching out of my shirt. I had 3 layers.
You poked them. Yeah.
I was like, this is not about you, lady. This is about me. That's all this is. Bang. So we were there with our girlfriends, and I literally looked at my friends and goes, "Dude, this is crazy. We're 20-year-olds with a comic book company going to Stanley's birthday party with our girlfriends. Like, this is the dream. Like, it doesn't get better than this. That is
nerd mecca.
Just all the check marks now." So we go in, and we're seeing all these comic book celebrities that we're like, "Oh my God, there's Joe Quesada. Oh my God, there's Jim Aparo." Like, it was crazy. And then someone hear a glass clinking, and Stanley comes out, and he gives this amazing speech about how every comic book creator is a storyteller, is a myth maker, and we make the myths that everyone's going to share, and we can look to when we're weak, and to reaffirm us when we're sad, and to encourage us when we need encouragement. And that's what we do. And then he says Excelsior, and this is massive applause. And then Stanley starts to walk the room. I make a beeline. I wait my turn. There's an older gentleman in front of me. And as soon as that older gentleman leaves, I stick my body into the group. I'm like, "Stan, how you doing? I'm a big fan." He's like, "Oh, nice to meet you. Happy birthday." Boom. And I was like, so happy. And I was like, "Oh, open bar. I don't get a drink." So I go to the line to get a drink. And while I'm waiting in line, I look behind me, and the gentleman that was talking to Stan before me is now behind me. So sort of looking around, and I'm like, I'll just talk to him, make some conversation. The line's long. And I was like, so I saw you talking to Stan. He's like, "Oh yeah, me and Stan know each other for a long time." I'm like, "How do you guys know each other?" He's like, "Oh, I used to draw Web of Spider-Man." And I was like, "What run of Web of Spider-Man did you draw?" He goes, "Oh, I drew 29 through 42. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be real nerdy. Did you draw issue 38 of Web of Spider-Man, where Spider-Man is moving into his new apartment, and then his landlord throws a housewarming party, but he secretly spiked the punch, so Spider-Man's drinking the punch, but then the Hobgoblins are attacking downtown, and Spider-Man goes to fight Hobgoblin, but his spider sense isn't working because he realizes that he's been drunk the whole time?" He's like, "Yeah, I drew that book." I was like, "Dude, that was my first Spider-Man book ever. It's amazing." He's like, "Oh, I'm so glad." I was like, I remember reading that comic going, "Oh wow, Spider-Man's drunk. It's like he's my dad."
Yo, listen, I've had those nights. I remember the first time I ever saw my father drunk, bro. Woo! It was like 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday. I'm watching TV, right? Mommy's already in bed. All of a sudden, like, it's 10 o'clock at night, and I think I'm like 10, and I'm hearing strange noises by the door. So as a kid, I'm an asshole. I'm watching horror movies. So I'm like, "What the hell is that?" So apparently my father can't find the keyhole. I just went up to the door. I said, "Fuck it, whatever it is gonna happen." I open it up. Oh, it's Dad. The dude just stares at me for what felt like 60 seconds. Just goes, and just walks in. And I didn't see him till the next day.
What on my album, Adorably Offensive, which by the way you could pick up on all like Apple and everything else. And it's all there.
Pick it up.
I have a joke where I literally talk about when I was growing up. My dad used to go out drinking with his friends and then come home really late at night, super drunk, and I had no idea. And sometimes you get so drunk, he would mix up my bedroom for the bathroom, and he would pee in my toy box.
Oh no!
And here's the thing. I was so small, I had no idea that was my dad. I just remember thinking my boogeyman's a dick.
Like, mommy, the ghost came out and peed on my toys again.
Every in the morning, my mom's like, "What's the matter?" I'm like, "Apparently, I destroyed the boogeyman's hopes and dreams. I don't know what happened."
You keep peeing on my toys. Every Christmas, you must have been so happy. Finally, toys almost smell like pee. Yeah, bendito. I love it. Yo, Eric, you rock. Your energy is off the hook. Folks, this is what you got to do. Please, yo. You know the Crusaders don't do you no wrong. The Crusaders put you on to the greatness of comic. As you see, that seal is approved by the Comic Crusaders Authority. So please sign up for the Kickstarter today, right there below. All right, it's also in the show notes. So just click away, sign up. Very important. Please check out the website and stay tuned to everything that is Dangerous Squad again. And if your family, you have family, you got little ones, this is perfect for them right here as well. You know, family, kid friendly, and it will grow with them. So that means that both you and them could grow into this story and grow up with it. And it will be on TV. We're manifesting it. It will be a TV. It's going to be movies. You're going to see Old Man Mega be probably one of the daddies on the TV show.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right. And of course, please follow on IG, X, TikTok. Danger Squad up, baby. That's right. You know what I mean? That's what's popping off. Yo, Eric, you are the man. Last question, because I said there was one more.
Sure.
When it comes to advice, you've been on the journey. You've done so many things thus far. And now you're stepping into this world, this first big project, you know, which I know is going to get funded like in no time. Yeah, you're going to do like McFarlane, you know, what is it? Like he dropped off that medieval Kickstarter in 36 minutes. He made $1 million. Don't you worry, you got that. You got this. Woo! You got this. So, Eric, words of advice for any creators trying to step into the game today.
Yeah, I got some advice for you. Whatever you want to do, let me preface it by saying this. I like reading science books and that kind of thing. They were talking about string theory and how it connects to quantum entanglements. And if you know quantum entanglements, it's basically two atoms that are connected and they can exist together but they can exist in our reality and disappear and then come back. And they're connected in their frequency. But we have no idea where they go when they phase out. They just phase back in. And the hypothesis of what like the multiverse is supposed to be is that when they phase out, we don't know if they're phasing out to another place or a bunch of different places. The same way we don't know when they phase into our reality, if they're phasing into just ours or a bunch of other ones at the same time. But if they're phasing somewhere that's like this, it's making that time is essentially a loop, and we can be small variations, but the same things will always sort of happen for the most part, which means there are other places that happen a little bit differently and a little bit different from that and a little bit different from that. So everything is possible. So if everything is possible, you have to make a choice every day. Do you want to just react to what's happening, or do you want to make the choices that you get to be the possible that you want to be? And that's in everything. And so my advice is, whenever you have the opportunity, make the choices that you wish you would want to make. So when you can look back, it's gonna be like, oh, that's the way I wanted it to turn out. And you make those choices that make that happen.
There you go. Make them decisions, mi gente, and don't look back. You got this. Be confident in those choices. Make them stern and make them strong. I love it. Bro, Eric, you have been nothing but an amazing pleasure to have on the show. I'm your media partner, so you better be coming back all the time.
Oh, dude, whatever you want, I'm in. No worries.
Hey, you better do your Comic-Con. That's what you need to do. We need to bring this energy over there and tear up the show floor, all right? That's what we need to do. All right?
They will do a show after the con.
Absolutely. So, me again, it's the Kickstarter. It's the website. It's the socials. Everything in the show notes. I make it easy for you, me Crusaders. Thank you so much for everyone that has tuned in, liking, and showing the love. With that, I'm Al Mega with the amazing Eric DaSilva. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Huepa!
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.